Peace, Israel. Today's class, the title of today's class is Death, Sleep with Your Fathers. Again, today's class, the title of it is Death, Sleep with Your Fathers. As always, we're going to start this class with the scripture that best references this channel. Okay, and that would be Psalms 119, 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So we always reference the law to find out what is the truth of the Most High. All right, the first place we're headed to, make sure you grab your books, obviously. Okay, that way we can actually reference everything via the book. All right, let's go to 1 Kings chapter 1, and we will deal with verse 21. 1 Kings 1, 21. And it reads, Otherwise it shall come to pass, when my lord the king shall sleep with his fathers, and I and my son shall be counted offenders. Now, this verse speaks to Bathsheba, who is the mother of Solomon. David, as you refer to him as King David, Governor David, is old and stricken in years at this point. And David's older brother has tried to take the throne. So Bathsheba comes on to David to ensure that Solomon indeed would be the successor to the throne. And so she's saying here, before he sleeps with his fathers, that Solomon would be on the throne. So not before he goes up to heaven and be with the Most High or anything strange like that. Before he sleeps with his fathers, before he comes unto death. Okay, let's go now to 1 Kings 2. Let's move over one chapter. Let's move over one chapter to 1 Kings chapter 2. And we will read verse 2 and verse 3. Let's start from the top. 1 Kings chapter 2. Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. We all must die. I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong therefore, and show thyself a man. Keep the charge of Yah, to walk in his ways, to keep his commandments, and to keep his statutes and his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the laws of Moses, or in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest, and whatsoever thou turnest thyself. So David is admitting here that he is getting ready to die. Nowhere does it mention that he is getting ready to die and go to heaven and be with the Most High. You can't find that anyplace. Let's go ahead and flip to same chapter, and we're going to go to verse 10. Excuse me. And verse 10 reads, So David slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David. Once again, at no point do you see where David went to heaven. There is no such thing as dying and going to heaven. All righty. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 42 and 43. Once again, 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 42 and 43. And it reads, verse 42, And the time that Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel was 40 years. Verse 43, And Solomon slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father. And Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. Once again, at no point and at no time do you see where Solomon, the wisest of all men, died and went to heaven. You don't see that. He died and he was gathered onto his fathers, all the kings before him, okay, being his father, and the rest of them, your family is kept in a sepulcher, Okay, where all the people of the past have died, i.e. a cemetery, if you will. And so therefore you're gathered onto them. All right, you're not taken up into the sky with the Most High. That's not how it works. All right, let's go to Numbers, and we'll go to chapter 20. Numbers chapter 20, and we will go with verse 23 through 28. Numbers chapter 20, and we will go with verse 23 through 28. Verse 23 reads, And Yah spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because you rebelled against me at the water of Meribah. Now, Moses and Aaron, the Most High is speaking to both of them, letting them know that Aaron is about to be gathered onto his people. That means Aaron's about to die. That's simply what that means. So when Aaron died, it wasn't a surprise to him. The Most High told him when he was going to die. Now, the Most High didn't tell him, Aaron, I'm going to take you from among your people, but you're going to be up here with me in about 5 minutes. That was not what was said. He was to be gathered with his people. Death. Those that have died before him. Now, let's go down to verse 25. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up unto Mount Or, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son. And Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and shall die there. So here we have the death of Aaron, and we can see Aaron being the priest, and his son, Eleazar the priest, is going to be taking over in his stead. So the priesthood is a bloodline of men of the house of Levi. Anyone just can't be the priest. So this is to reiterate that point. Okay, so Aaron here is dying, or this is the death of Aaron, and we see he's going to be gathered onto his people, those who have passed on before him. Okay. Next, let's go to Deuteronomy 34. Deuteronomy chapter 34. Deuteronomy chapter 34, we'll read verse 5 and 6. Deuteronomy chapter 34, verse 5, and it reads, So Moses, the servant of Yah, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of Yah. And he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulchre until this day. So Moses died, and no one knows where his sepulchre is. But he died and he was buried in a sepulchre. Okay? So he did not ascend up into the heavens with the Most High, because Moses was not able to see, or was not able to set foot on the land, for the simple fact that he had transgressed against the Most High. Him and Aaron both. So they were not allowed to set foot in the land. In other words, that was a bit of rebellion, slightly. And that had caused him from being able, him and Aaron both, from entering into the land. Let's look at Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37, we'll look at verse 16 through 27. The valley of the dry bones. Ezekiel chapter 37, and we will start at verse 16. And it reads, Moreover, son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions. Now, what that is saying is to take one stick for Judah, the southern kingdom, and take one stick for Ephraim, who's also referred to as Samaria, who is the northern kingdom. Okay, so the kingdom has been split after Rehoboam. Northern kingdom, southern kingdom. Okay, so now the Most High is telling Ezekiel, take that stick for both those two nations, which is all Israel, because he's going to unite them as one. Okay, verse 17, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall come one in thine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, will thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say thus unto them, or say unto them, thus saith Yah, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. So the Most High is saying he's going to take Ephraim, who's the tribe of Joseph, okay, it's Joseph's sons, okay, in the north, and he's going to take Judah down in the south, and he's going to take both those two separate nations, and he's going to reunite the whole Israel, the whole house of Israel as one. Okay, and the sticks whereupon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith Yah, behold, I will make the children of Israel, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. This is the Most High reaching and gathering the house of Israel to bring them back into the land mass of Israel. Because Israel, the land mass, really is not Israel until the people Israel are upon that land mass. Take all the people in China, take them out of China, it's no longer China. Okay, so the land mass of Israel did not become Israel until the descendants of Israel was in that land mass. Okay, and verse 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them all, and there shall be no more two nations. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore. So the Most High is letting Ezekiel know that the two nations split that had taken place after Rehoboam will no longer be. That he will reunite the house of Israel as one once we are gathered out of these nations. Okay? Now verse 23. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols. So we're going to stop serving all these strange gods of all these nations that we were put in to serve, which means JC's out the box, okay, and the rest of them, okay, so we're going to be, these idols are going to be no more, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their strong one, or I will be their God, okay. Verse 24, it's important. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. Don't see JC here. And David, okay, let me repeat that. Verse 24, and David, my servant, shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. That one shepherd is David, not JC. Remember, the shepherd, that's exactly what David has always been. He was a keeper of the sheep. Okay? And David, the Most High made a covenant with him that he would always have a man on the throne in the house of Israel forever. So that is the shepherd that will be over the house of Israel forever, as long as the house of Israel is one nation. David, the man himself, he has died. We read that. Okay. However, in the future, his seed is going to always be sitting upon the throne of the house of Israel. And that is that shepherd. Understand? Now, let's reread that. 24. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them. Verse 25. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. We all know that you can't live forever. You live forever through your seed, your children, your children's children, and children's children after them, etc. So this is explaining here that part, that David will be the prince over us forever. David, Solomon, Rehoboam, and it continues. The line continues. Right now, there's no king in Israel because there is no Israel, i.e. the nation being one and gathered. We're scattered everywhere. Okay, so that prince, okay, that prince of peace that's going to rule over Israel, okay, that's going to sit in the throne of David, is going to be a son of David. One of his sons that's going to be chosen to do this. This is not no JC. You understand that? Because David is that shepherd. So you understand that. We just read it. Okay? So I wanted to make that clear so you can understand that fact. All right, now let's go to verse 26 because we'll read till 27. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them. I will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. Now, someone told you, you've been lied to, that you're going to die, you're going to heaven, and you're going to be up there breakdancing with JC. Doesn't work that way. Okay? The kingdom is here upon the earth. And the Most High will be in that third temple once it is built, once the house of Israel is returned, and we're gathered, and our priests will put on those sacrifices, and the law goes into full effect. It is now, but it'll be surely in effect once that temple is built, and the law will go forth out of Zion. And the Most High is letting us know right here that his sanctuary is going to be in the midst of the house of Israel forever, and he's going to be in that sanctuary. So you're not being gathered up into the sky with anyone. The Most High is going to come down and be in the midst of his people here on the earth in Mount Zion in that third temple. So who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe what the Most High and his prophets are telling you? Or are you going to listen to what someone else is telling you? And the Most High doesn't change. So he doesn't tell you, hey, look, I'm going to dwell in the midst of you in my sanctuary forever. I'm going to dwell in the midst of you. And all of a sudden he's going to go to some other book and tell you, well, you're going to come up here and dwell with me. It doesn't work that way. Let's finish up with verse 27. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know, this is verse 28, and the heathen shall know that I am Yah. Do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. That's where his sanctuary will be, in the midst of us. And so will he be in the midst of us, in the kingdom. Because the saints of the Most High is going to take the kingdom. And the kingdom is in Jerusalem. And so that's where we're going to be. And thus, the son, Israel, Exodus 4:22, the son Israel inherits that of the Father, the kingdom. So we will rule the kingdom because we are the sons of the Most High Yah. And JC ain't nowhere in sight. So you understand that. David is the shepherd over us. A seed of David. So let that be clear unto you. Now let's finish up with this. Our enemies, those individuals that we have been subjected to their cruelty, to their harshness. But keep in mind, this was our own doing that allowed this to happen. Nevertheless, they're still our enemies. They are going to be proven to be a bunch of liars, if you haven't already figured it out. You see them lying every day. They have never done anything that's been to the benefit of the house of Israel. And they won't do anything that will be to your benefit at all. So they're going to be proven liars. And let's go into the book and show you where that is being plainly stated. Let's go to Deuteronomy 33, verse 29. And that will wrap up this lesson. It's a short lesson. Deuteronomy, let's go to chapter 33. Deuteronomy chapter 33, and we will start off at verse 29. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yah, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellence. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. All our enemies are going to be proven to be liars. As we study this book, we're going to see JC's a liar and all these other fake, false idols of these quote-unquote religions. And we're going to knock all their false gods over and their churches, and knock those churches over and their mosques and everything else that they've got. So these idols have got to go, and you have to remove them out of your heart. No, you're not dying and going to heaven. When you're dead, you're dead. No, you can't live forever, because the Most High is the only person that lives forever. If you live forever with him, that makes him a liar. It doesn't work that way. You live forever through your seed. The kingdom is not in the sky. It's down here in Jerusalem. And you're not going up to the Most High to live with him at no time. The Most High will dwell in the midst of his people. So you've been lied to. So you must study. You must go in this book. You must read. You must discern. All right. That concludes this lesson. Death and sleeping with your fathers. You look at all the prophets or all the important figures of this book. Look when they died, and you let me know when you have ever seen and he died and he went up and he was dwelling in the midst of the Most High. You can't find that here. When you're dead, you're dead. Then they speak of the person's lineage after that. They may speak of their sons, of their daughters, etc. But after you're dead, there's no story to be told about you at all. Because once you're dead, that's it. Okay? So let's go ahead and clear the air, get some study time in, and realize that you're not living forever. You're not going up in the sky anyplace. This is a myth. This is a lie. All right. That concludes this lesson. And we'll finish up with thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. So look in this book. Whatever you've heard, remember Malachi 3:6, the Most High does not change. Look at his law, because his law is a testimony. Okay? So if you hear something, compare it to the law. Look in the law, find it. If it's contrary to the law, it's a lie. Peace, Israel.